Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Thank you all for joining us. This is an Ask the Expert session for Digital Breakout 131. It's a continuation of the conversation building systems of insight for your enterprise scale with Power BI and Azure. My name is Sharon. I'll be doing some quick housekeeping and introductions this morning, and then we will get started. Quickly, some notes on how to engage with our experts. Please use the chat to ask your questions. Once your questions have gone through our moderation process, they will appear to all attendees. Please use the thumbs up symbol to vote for your favorite questions, letting us know that many of you have those same questions. Our experts will respond to you via chat and over voice, and we will also be posting some resources in the chat for you to continue to learn more about this topic. Some quick notes on etiquette. We will be recording this session so you can view it again later. Please be helpful to our moderators. Do not spam us repeating your questions over and over. We'll do our best to get them to everyone as quickly as possible. Please try not to post inappropriate information in the chat. And also, please adhere to the Microsoft Code of Conduct. It is posted in the chat and on the screen here now. As a reminder, session is being recorded on our end and will be available for your use later. Please do not photo or video on your end. And with that, let's meet our experts. Priya, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, absolutely. Good morning from Seattle. I'm Priya Sathi, and I'm a group product manager in Power BI, and I'm responsible for the enterprise and AI workloads in Power BI. And I have my team here of experts. We have not only folks from my product management team, but we also have folks from the engineering team, which I'm super excited about because these are the folks that are building Power BI. So super excited to look at the questions that are already coming in. I just want to quickly introduce everybody else on the team. So Christian Wade, Vijay Gopalakrishnan, also both product managers. Dipesh and Christian, Akshay and Dennis, all from our engineering team. And we also have Chris Finland, who's from our product management team. So Sharon, should I take it away with the questions?
Yes, please. I'll put some resources and information up for everyone, but please start putting those questions in chat and we are here to answer questions.
All right. While folks are putting questions together, and I'm going to ask my team here to start looking through the questions because I see quite a few questions. Let me just kind of recap some of the big announcements that Arun and I made yesterday in the session and the replays of the session that you hopefully all got to watch. A big announcement that we made is the availability of the second generation of Premium. It's built on a new architecture. And in this, what we're offering to you is not only all of the Premium capabilities that you've loved, but we are also bringing to you the ability to license by user, which means a singular user can get all of the features such as the paginated reports features, the AI features, that licensing is not gated behind the huge premium price tag per capacity, but is per user. Generation 2 is also going to have a 16x performance boost. We're also going to make it available with a new feature called Autoscale, where we will be able to scale you up one singular core at a time when there are spikes in usage. And then we also are going to bring to you very detailed utilization analysis capability. So a bunch of out-of-the-box reports that will give you a very detailed breakdown of where your capacity usage is going to. And that will be coming to you into public preview in November. So if there are questions here at this point, team, Christian, Chris, let's bring it up to the surface and let's try to address any of the questions related to this announcement.
Priya, there's some questions about the auto scale licensing model. Can we also act dynamic and give away resources when we're idle?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Chris?
Sure, it says it's really interested in the auto scale licensing model. Can we also act dynamic and give away resources when we're idle? So I think the question is
yeah, okay. So the way AutoScale is going to work, and maybe I can explain that a little bit more, and maybe that'll answer the question. So AutoScale is basically an opt-in feature, and when you opt in, we start monitoring your usage. We see usage spikes, and what we will do is when it goes into what we call overload, we will add a core at a time to be able to balance out the overload so your end users are not seeing any performance degradation at all. All of this will be seamless. You don't have to do anything other than opt into the feature, set the number of cores that you want to auto scale to, the max number of cores. And a core will be turned on for a period of 24 hours. Now, after that period, if we sense that there is idle time, again, you don't need to do anything. We will automatically remove that core as well. To address the question on the licensing, so this will be built to your Azure subscription, so you can bring your own Azure subscription, and the extra core that is charged for that duration, so it's a pay-as-you-go basis, will be charged to your Azure subscription.
Great. To follow up on that, if CPU versus memory usage doesn't scale linearly, can we increase any of them separately?
No, we do this automatically for you. And that's the whole value proposition of Generation 2. We don't want you to have to worry about that. We worry about that. This is going to be more hands-off and easier management for you.
And a related question on the performance boost, what services can we see that increase? So I'm assuming that's talking about the workloads.
That's a fair assumption.
Yeah, Chris, Christian, you want to talk about your workloads and how they will scale?
Yes, absolutely. So for the dataset workload, you will see significant performance improvement. The current design on the new architecture is that all of the datasets will be running on very large servers. There'll be no caps in terms of being able to automatically spread out and be load balanced across a large cluster of very large servers. So you will see a significant performance boost on the data sets for sure. And Chris, do you want to talk about paginated reports?
Sure. So in the context of paginated reports, one of the big changes with Premium Gen 2 is we'll be introducing per user containerization. So each session will be run in the context of that user. So there'll be a pool of containers that are gone and used as part of this workload, which will allow us obviously to be available in a number of different SKUs that we are today. As I mentioned, and some of you might have seen on Twitter, will be available all the way down to the A1 and EM1 SKUs with Premium Gen 2, and that's a big advantage, obviously, if you're looking at this from a paginated reports perspective. And clearly, as you have additional needs across your organization, we're able to dynamically scale the amount of containers available for your solution in the context of Premium Gen 2. So it's a big step forward here in terms of what you can do from a flexibility perspective. In terms of the actual performance for the reports themselves, again, because the hardware that you're running on, it's much faster than what you would have been using, say, in the first generation of Premium. You will see that performance boost in terms of your paginated report workload when you're using that in many scenarios. Hopefully that answered the question.
There are some interesting questions on data flows that I want to try to address. Now, one of the things that I talked about in the session is the work that we're doing with data flows and Azure Data Lake Storage attached, right? We have this capability at the tenant level. We're bringing this capability at the workspace level, and that should be available to you. Now, I know a lot of you have posted on forums and seen questions here as well. What else? So we are doing some work that I didn't call out, but will be coming out soon. We are improving the experience itself with data flows. So for example, you might see that the validation UI improvement will be coming, so you'll get better performance, you'll see better performance, and there are some other improvements as well that are going to be coming in the next few months by the end of the year, with related to the Power BI data flows experience within the service. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand that those improvements are coming out as well. There were a lot of questions that I also just saw very quickly on how do I get started with Power BI. I do want to call out that if you're new to this and you want to get started, go to our documentation, docs.microsoft.com/Power BI. It's a great starting point, or you can just go to aka.ms/Power BI. And you not only do we have all of your getting started documentation, lots of simple examples to get you started as well. So that would be where I would start you off with to get started with Power BI.
And Priya, there's a question here that you may want to answer, which is, what will the cost for Gen 2 licensing be?
Great question. So the Gen 2 capacities will be at the same price as it is today. We are just upgrading the underlying technology. We are upgrading the architecture, so that should be pretty seamless to you guys when it goes GA. You will be automatically upgraded to Gen 2. It's all in place with zero impact to you.
There is another question here about how to scale globally users in EMEA and Americas. So I'd just like to point out that a lot of the operations that need to take place today to enable that kind of system will just happen automatically. We see this with, for example, Azure Node Services, where certain regions will scale up and down based on peak hours. And since Gen 2 is automatically going to charge you just for CPU consumption, if no one's using it when it's not at peak hours, you won't get charged for it anyway. So there'll be a lot less management overhead to manage scaling up and down for cost effectiveness across different regions, if that makes sense.
Okay, so there's a question here about Power BI Report Server and the licensing changes there in terms of Azure. So back in April of this year, actually, we had the licensing change where if you're a SQL Server customer with Enterprise Edition and you have software assurance, you can run that in Azure on a VM as part of your Azure hybrid benefit. If you've seen some of the announcements from the SQL side of the house in terms of Ignite, we are releasing a VM image in the Azure Gallery that allows you to leverage your Azure hybrid benefit and it's just a pre-made image, so it makes it much easier in terms of just taking your workload and getting that up and running in the context of the cloud. So that will be available. You still need to have software assurance and leverage your Azure hybrid benefit there. You can obviously run it as developer edition if you don't have that in place, just so you can do some development work there as well. In terms of scale out deployment for that is supported. in terms of Power BI Report Server. We've not done anything specifically to go and optimize or use scale sets or things like that as it relates to Power BI Report Server or SQL Server reporting services, which will also be available as images in the gallery in terms of 2016, 2017, 2019, both standard, enterprise, and developer edition. That's not something I'm saying we're ruling out. It's just we haven't gone and done specific work around that at this point, but we do highly encourage folks to go take advantage of that and those images, because again, for SSRS at least, you can obviously just rent a license with the VM, or you can use your Azure benefit if you're coming from an on-prem scenario.
Thanks, Chris. There's a question around showing more details on the ETL capabilities within Power BI and how you can leverage AI ML from there. Lionel, thank you for that question. I would suggest walking through the or going through the session. There is an example of an example demo where I show walking through Power BI data flows using creating entities and using automated machine learning. If you also go into our documentation, you will see more detailed examples there, but you can get a quick 1-minute preview of that from also the session. So there's another interesting question here around any plans for better cost management, billing integration with Power BI for all of Azure subscription pay-as-you-go, not just enterprise. So yes. The simple answer to that is yes. So what's coming with Generation 2 is exactly that. We are going to give you more detailed cost metrics. So the utilization, whether it is your Power BI utilization, Power BI Premium utilization, or you've opted into autoscale and you've got autoscaling cores being added, you will get a very detailed breakdown of what reports, what users, what departments are really consuming that usage. And you would be able to do better cost management, better budgeting, potentially better chargebacks as well. So it should enable those types of scenarios.
Yeah, and there's a question here. Is there anything in the works to add MDS, I'm assuming that's Master Data Services, or something similar for business-facing lookups and mappings? So Dan, thanks for asking that question. We would normally deal with that as an external kind of data source. We are, as Microsoft, making innovations in that space. There is, for example, Customer 360. You may want to take a look at that, which is very much in that space about defining consistent master data that integrates data from multiple sources to define the kind of golden record for customer, as it were. But we would use that data as a source. We can integrate with it in Power BI data flows, and we can bring that data in as a source. And you may also be interested that we are working very closely with the Azure Data Catalog to integrate very, very closely with Azure Data Catalog. So you will see some enhanced kind of interactions with some of these external tools and processes that manage and prepare data. They very much integrate with data flows and can be used as data sources for Power BI, but they're generally kind of a separate tool outside Power BI, if that makes sense.
Thanks, Chris. There's another interesting question here that I'm seeing. Do you need an Azure subscription to use the AI functionality in Power BI Premium? So in Power BI, holistically, there is no. So we have multiple options for you, whether you're a citizen data scientist, a business analyst, or a professional data scientist using Power BI. We have amazing visuals where, as a business analyst, you can use those visuals without knowing any machine learning or having to connect to any of the Azure AI capabilities. And examples of these are the key influencers visual, the decomposition tree visual, which gives you the ability to do root cause analysis. And we also just this week also talked about what you're going to get in November, which is the anomaly detection visual. All of this, we've harnessed the knowledge and power of AI across Microsoft and embedded that and built amazing visual experiences. So you don't need to bring your Azure subscription or really know about AI or machine learning. And so we've simplified that. Now, the next tier, of course, we do have the option. Let's say you have, data scientists that are using Azure Machine Learning and building their ML models. You do have the option to leverage those as well. Very simple. Just go get permissions to those ML models in those ML APIs in Azure, and you will have the ability to use them in Power BI. So we have both options available to you.
Hey, Priya. So I saw a couple questions come in on the price point for premium per user. So let me just address that.
Yeah,
so we're not trying to be cagey with this. It's just the way it works is the price is not announced until you get close to the GA timeframe. I assure you that this is a price that is it is very, very fair. I was heavily involved as part of it. I think you'll be very, very pleased when you get it announced. We're just not allowed to talk about it right now. It's just the way that the policy is. We're not trying to hide anything. And I would say if I didn't feel comfortable with it, we wouldn't have had the announcement around this product in the first place. So from that perspective, you should feel very confident that what we're going to announce to market is something that is in line with what Power BI has provided to date, which is an extraordinary value across the board. So I know that everybody is dying to understand what the price is. It's just the way it is right now. And we highly encourage folks to go and, we are going to have the public preview starting in November. It's going to be completely free for all users for Power BI for a period of months. This is something that I strongly encourage you to go and take advantage of, because the more usage we can show and the more people we can get trying it out and showing it, we can drive that interest and accelerate our GA timeframe and get people excited, and then get that price announcement out there so everybody can start planning accordingly. So again, trust me, I'm right there with you. I know you're all dying to understand what the price is, and that's just kind of where we're at right now. So hopefully just hang with us, and you'll be very, very pleased. Another question came up around Power Query support in paginated reports. So that is something we're planning to have Power Query support directly in paginated reports. It's something you should see in 2021. I know this is making a little bit of news here that we're talking about that, but that is something absolutely we now have planned, and you should see us putting on the roadmap and having longer discussions about it in the coming weeks and months.
So there's a fundamental question around, is there a roadmap published for Power BI and expected availability and timelines? Just as a follow-up to what you said, Chris, I just want to address that. So we made a bunch of announcements yesterday and today, some of them that are available, as we speak, some of them coming up in the next month or within the next 3 months. Now, what you can expect is we do maintain our release plans online. And if you just go online and look at the documentation, you will see our forward-looking roadmaps and things like what Chris is mentioning as well will get posted and will get updated there. So I think we can, Christian, Wade, thank you for dropping that link in there. I think let's publish that one so people know that that's where we maintain our release plans. As we keep making these updates, which is every few months, you will see, the latest and greatest show up there with our projected timelines.
So a question just came in, and I think what they mean is, are you able to have users with the new premium capacity, or all users in the organization will need to have it? I think that they're referring to the premium per user offering. No, you don't have to have every user in the organization licensed with premium per user. I think, when we went and designed this SKU, it was the reason why it was such a lengthy process and so much work is we wanted to make sure that it was addressing a specific need without disrupting the other offerings that we had in Power BI. So it was meant to be a complement to the other items. So it was addressing very specifically the scenarios of I'm a smaller, medium-sized organization and I want to get access to the premium capabilities, but starting at a $5,000 month price point didn't make sense. Also, for people where I came from the Microsoft field and I'm very aware of the conversations they have with their enterprise customers. There's a lot of organizations where they have a small department that's running SQL Server Standard for their BI needs, and they're looking to move that group, say, to leverage paginate reports or large data models or things like that, or things like the AI workload, or they have a test dev organization for development pipelines. They can get those per user licenses, and the rest of the organization can have a mix and match of the other licenses that they do today. So it's meant to be something that's complementary. And I think that, for smaller groups, 10, 20, 30 users, you obviously, there's a lot of incentive there, I think you'll see, to go and have everybody just licensed that way so you can all access the content in the same way. But again, it's meant to be something that can be mixed and matched or interleaved with your existing licensing options.
Chris, you want to pick the question that also just came up on will PPU paginated reports be able to do subscriptions sent to the exported report while using RLS?
Yes, so we do have plans to support RLS for data-driven subscriptions in the context of premium. And so when we mention premium, what that means is, doesn't matter if you license it per user or if you license it per capacity, you'll get the feature. So that absolutely is something that you can do with premium per user. You just need to make sure that everybody who's getting that subscription or getting individualized content has that specific license type. But yes, absolutely, that's something that would be supported and available for you.
There's actually a follow-on question, Chris, you should also address. If I would like to play with premium capacity features at home without a tenant sponsored by a large org, is there any solution for me? Seems like the premium per user license only helps orgs that already have premium. You want to correct that, Ms.
No, that's absolutely no. And so a question like that came in yesterday. I thought I addressed it online. This is for any organization. The idea is that this is unlocking this capabilities for people across the world in terms of being able to access these premium features. I'll use myself as an example. I pay for my own tenant out of my own pocket. I have E5, and I'm going to buy a premium per user license for myself, just because I want to do demos and I want to do things in the context of my own environment. You can absolutely do that. If you're a one-man operation and you want to go use premium per user, you get all the capabilities that you would get in premium, all of the features. You're getting effectively a P3 experience for a single user. And that absolutely can be used for organizations who don't have premium capacity. Another question came in on the blog last night in terms of the questions I got after I released the FAQ. It was, hey, my organization already has premium capacity. Is there some new requirement for premium per user? No, if you're using pro licenses in the premium capacity today, you may not have any need for premium per user. Again, it's meant to be a complement and not a replacement for any of the existing offerings we have today.
Yeah. And there's another follow-up as well on premium per user, Chris. Will premium per user be managed through Power BI directly or via Azure AD?
So it's managed just like you would manage pro licenses or pro users today. It's just managed in the context of Power BI. So you handle that in the context of Power BI. The way that you get the licenses, you would acquire the licenses through the Microsoft 365 portal, where you go and you purchase this license, and then you assign it to users just like you would today in the context of how you assign pro licenses, for example. There'll be an in-product trial experience. I haven't really talked much about this yet, but if you're an existing pro user and you want to trial these functionalities, just like you can get a pro trial today, there'll be a premium per user trial you can go get right from the product directly. So this is something else that'll be there as well for you to get started. But it's all managed all through Power BI. The idea is that there's no capacity you have to worry about. It's just like it's like you have Pro plus additional features. That's why for a lot of times, or sometimes you'll hear us call it Pro Plus.
And I know we are almost at time. Maybe we can take one more question.
Yeah, I can take one if you like. For an organization that has large existing content catalog built up on a competing data visualization platform, are there any resources that could help streamline migration of said content to Power BI? And thank you very much for that question. We are getting that question a lot. We are actually getting a lot of migrations from competing platforms to Power BI. Hence, we are writing a white paper to advise on best practices on how to do that. And it will show up in the white paper section that I've just pasted here into the chat window, which I'm about to publish.
Okay, I think we are at time, if I remember. Thank you all for the great questions here.
Yeah, this was
Thank
great.
you.
And make sure you ask any additional questions on Premium per User on the blog post that's out there today, or reach out on Twitter or LinkedIn.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
Thanks.